Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We are coming to you on CarolinaLive.com tonight. Unfortunately, the power outages that affected so many in our area affected us here at WPDE as well. And we had no power to our transmitter and therefore have been off the air since about 1:30 this morning. But we are hopeful that power will be restored to the transmitter in about a couple of hours from now. But until then, we'll be right here on CarolinaLive.com. I'm Allison Floyd.
And I'm Tim McGinnis. Thanks for joining us. Tens of thousands of people are still without power here on the Grand Strand and in the PD. We're going to have more on that in a moment. But first, let's get straight to our team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski in the First Warning Weather Center.
Well, finally, after 3 days with freezing rain, sleet, and snow, our long-lasting epic winter storm is pulling away. Main area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere over eastern Virginia. That's where most of the snow is now, including northern North Carolina. For us, skies are clearing very nicely. The one problem we still have, though, in addition to a lot of snow on the ground in some areas, is ice in the trees and winds that are gusting at times up over 20 miles per hour. Tree limbs that have already been weakened or still have ice in them can come down in that kind of wind, and obviously that could mean more power outages as we head through tonight, especially across parts of the PD and on the border belt. The good news is the winds will subside as we head through the evening and overnight hours. Here's a look at our current temperatures. We're above freezing everywhere. I don't see us going below freezing until very late this evening or overnight. Here is the forecast as we head through the evening and overnight hours. Skies will clear through the evening hours. It'll be cold tonight. The lows near 26 inland, which of course means any remaining water, ice, snow that's on the ground will refreeze tonight. Meanwhile, on the beaches, we're at 31, but the roads are nice and dry here in Horry and Georgetown counties. It gets a whole lot better tomorrow, folks. I promise you that. And even better by next week. How does 70 sound? It's in the 7-day forecast, and we'll talk about that later.
70 sounds real good right now. More than 100,000 homes and businesses remain without power tonight in the Grand Strand and PD. Some have been in the dark for more than 24 hours.
Power companies say they do anticipate widespread outages. They're working, though, as quickly as they can to get your lights back on. WPDE News Channel 15's Tanya Brown's live in South Florence tonight with more. Tanya, many of these crews literally are working around the clock to get the lights back on.
That's right, Tim and Allison. As we've all learned by now, it was the ice that coated trees that brought down the power lines. And power crews tell me it could be days before your power is back on. Much of the city of Florence was still without power Thursday morning. Traffic lights at busy intersections were dark, making conditions dangerous for drivers.
I'm scared some car might slip and bump them over a little bit.
Police were called in to help direct traffic.
But they're just doing their job. But also, if the people would stay off the road that don't need to be out here, then make their job a lot easier too.
And once they got through the intersections, drivers found themselves up against another roadblock, all the downed trees and power lines. Those fallen trees caused more than 120,000 people on the Grand Strand and the PD to plunge into darkness. Power crews are working around the clock to restore power. Duke Energy realized the seriousness of the situation and called in reinforcements from other states, an additional 250 workers.
We're doing everything we can to safely and quickly and efficiently restore power to those people.
But it's going to take time because of the number of outages and the amount of debris that has to be removed.
There's a significant amount of debris out there, and it'll take a few days. Some people could be without power for quite a few days.
According to Marion County officials, 93% of residents were without power at one time, and I'm told some of them went to the hospital to get help before those shelters were open. Reporting live in Florence, I'm Tanya Brown.
All right, Tanya, thank you very much.
Let's take a live look at some of those outages right now that are happening across the area.
Yeah, as you can see right now, this is through Progress Energy's website. I've been tracking these numbers all night long and through today. Right now, just Tanya spoke about Marion County. Marion County, they serve Progress Energy 12,705 customers, and they have 92.5% of their customers still affected, still without power right now. Florence County for Progress Energy has about half of their customers without power, 21,000. Overall, throughout our viewing area, we hit about 120,000 people without power. Right now, it's down to just over 100,000 people without power in our area.
If your lights aren't on, we hope you get them back on soon. With these power outages, numbers are still in the thousands, and many South Carolinians are wondering when they're going to see the light again.
Some families in our area have not had power for more than a day now. And WPDE News Channel 15's Kayla Dorenzo visited one Horry County neighborhood that's currently in the dark to find out how they're holding up and to get them some answers. Kayla?
Well, Tim and Allison, we first found out that residents on Comfort Court in Conway didn't have power when longtime resident and WPDE News Channel 15 viewer Brett Small called our newsroom this afternoon. His power's been out since yesterday at 10:30 a.m. and nearly 30 hours later, he's wondering why his neighbors across the street are up and running again, and he's still in a power struggle. It's been a long day and a half for Brett Small and his neighbors. They've been sitting in their cars with the heat running just to stay warm. Even the family dog hasn't left the car in over a day. Small's neighbor, Barbara Stinson, went grocery shopping on Tuesday and now has lost all her meats and perishable items since there's no electricity to keep them cold. But the frustrating part for this group is that the development across the street lost power after they did, and it's already back, while on the other hand, still lighting candles to keep warm.
At least lie to me if you're going to say something, but I mean, tell me something. Don't just say I'm on the list. I've been on the list now for 27 hours.
I called Penelope Hansen, Media Relations Coordinator for the Horry Electric, earlier this afternoon. She took down the information the residents gave me about the power situation and says the only people who should have power in that area right now are homes running off of generators. Hinton says the crews at Horry Electric are working around the clock to restore power fully to all customers and that homes next to each other may have their power restored at different times. Tim and Allison.
All right, thanks, Kayla. The residents on Comfort Court say this is the longest they've ever been without power, even longer than when Hurricane Hugo passed through.
Power outages are taking their toll on so many families across our area. We spoke with one woman in Mullins who says she's doing whatever she can to keep her children and pets safe from the cold.
Because it's below 50 in the house right now. We have some solar panels that's actually keeping the refrigerator running right now and everything, and that's with the sun not being out, it's not really doing too good. Honestly, with the kids, we're just trying to keep them bundled up and everything inside the blankets and stuff and keep them with like a couple pairs of clothes on plus a jacket. And as for the dogs, we've got blankets and stuff out here for them and everything, and you know, there's really not much we can do other than just put stuff out here for them.
Well, because there are so many people tonight without power and without heat, the American Red Cross opened several shelters in the area.
In Florence County, there's a shelter open at South Florence High School. In Lower Florence County, a shelter is at Lake City High School.
In Dillon County, Dillon High School has opened as a shelter, and in Marion County, Marion High School is being used as a shelter.
There are two in Horry County. Beach Church on George Bishop Parkway is being used as a shelter, and the Conway Recreation Center on Mill Pond Road is also being used as a shelter.
And we have all that information on CarolinaLive.com for you. A Marion woman is one of 4 storm-related deaths in South Carolina.
According to Marion Fire Chief Trey Cooper, a man was trying to heat the home on Upland Avenue with an oil-burning stove. The stove caught fire and spread to the home. Sadly, a woman inside the home died. The man's being treated for serious injuries. The South Carolina Highway Patrol says 2 other people were killed in traffic accidents on icy roads. Another man died from carbon monoxide poisoning after the Berkeley County coroner says he was heating his home with a charcoal grill.
Horry County Public Schools will be open tomorrow on a regular schedule with the exception of 6 schools. Those Horry County schools that are closed tomorrow are Aner Middle, Elementary and High Schools, Midland Elementary School, and Green C. Floyd's Elementary and High Schools. Bus transportation will not run in the Aner and Green C. Floyd's attendance areas for any student on Friday. Again, those are the only schools in Horry County that are closed. The rest will open on a normal schedule, and all other public schools in our area are closed, including those in Georgetown, Florence, Marion, Marlboro, Darlington, Dillon, Robeson, and Scotland counties.
Governor Nikki Haley is asking state lawmakers to allow school districts to be able to make the decision about whether to waive the missed days rather than make them up later.
Florence County Emergency Management has fully activated its Emergency Operations Center. Tonight, they are trying to assess the damage left behind by the storm. The center, which has been operational since Wednesday, is staffed with emergency management officials, first responders, and county officials. Teams canvassed the area today to start looking at the financial damage to county buildings and vegetation. Emergency management officials will present those estimates to the state to determine if Florence County qualifies for federal aid.
Each county will submit numbers, so there's a threshold that each county needs to meet, and then there's an overall threshold of damage that the state needs to meet in order to qualify.
Owen says it could be some time before they know the financial impact of this storm.
The big problem on the Grand Strand roads today wasn't ice on the road surface.
It was the damage caused by the ice to trees along the roads. WPDE News Channel 15's Joel Allen's here to show us some of that road debris and what's being done to get rid of it. Joel?
I'm told the worst areas in Horry County for road debris are around Conway, Loris, Aner, Greensea, and Galavance Ferry. With more than 1,400 miles of road in the county system, plus many more miles of state roads, clearing off all that debris will be no small job. In Aner, a downed tree blocks off a street. A few miles south, an Horry County fire truck holds back traffic as a tree dangles precariously on a power line above Antioch Road. And not far away on Juniper Bay Road, I found this ambulance crew, a paramedic and an EMT, whose public safety task on this day didn't exactly fit their usual job description.
Today we decided that we're going to get a broom, and we're going to clear the hazards out of the roadway.
With so much debris on so many roads, it was all county hands on deck.
We've had crews overnight, we've had public work crews out, we've had fire rescue, we've even had police officers clearing out the roadways, and that's our priority.
Some people took it upon themselves to do what they could. Annette Lorimore and her daughter stopped in their truck on Antioch Road to warn drivers about road debris ahead and a power line hanging dangerously low.
I think people would do a whole lot better if they didn't have to be on the roads to just stay at home. It would cause less accidents.
County officials say their first priority is clearing tree limbs off the roads right away for safety reasons. Getting rid of that debris once it's off the roads is of lesser importance, and that job could take 3 to 4 weeks.
We have 1,100 square miles in the county. Countywide is seeing debris issues, so we're trying to push that off on the side, and we'll come back and pick up that debris.
And if you live in a rural area and you're tempted to burn off some of that debris that's on your property, county officials just ask you to use extra caution. The county's 24 recycling centers will also be ready to accept that debris if you choose not to burn it. Tim and Allison.
Thanks, Joel. County officials say they can't remove debris from private property. That's the property owner's responsibility.
The roads are a major concern tonight, and not just because of the sleet, snow, and ice in some areas, but also because of wind.
Gusty conditions tonight mean already weakened trees and limbs will continue to come crashing down, often bringing power lines down with them. Highway Patrol says conditions on major roadways have improved, but secondary roads are still of concern. What they're most worried about is someone driving at night, coming up on a downed tree or power line without notice. If you have to drive, go slow and be careful.
Problems aren't just here in our area. Despite warnings to stay off the roads, there were major problems. This was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Talk about fire and ice. Lindsay Webb took this amazing picture of a car on fire as she was stuck in traffic, and people here ended up walking miles home as they abandoned their vehicles.
Keep it tuned to WPDE News Channel 15 for the very latest on this winter storm.
You can head to your website, carolinalive.com, where you are watching this streaming right now. You will also find all the information on shelters, warming centers, and up-to-the-minute road conditions. You can also find us on Facebook by searching News Channel 15, and we're on Twitter at Carolina Live.
Broken off tree limbs and dangling branches, that's what you'll find in many yards around the Grand Strand.
But before you hire a company to remove the debris, the Better Business Bureau says be very careful because scammers do tend to show up in disaster areas. WPDE News Channel 15's Courtney Griffin spoke with the Better Business Bureau. And Courtney, who is most at risk to fall victim to these scammers?
Allison, officials say seniors are usually targeted first, but anyone can be scammed. The Better Business Bureau says scammers see this winter storm as a chance to pretend they work for a professional tree service company, taking your money and leaving you empty-handed. After the storm comes the repair, managing limbs and branches. John McCarthy with Acadia Tree Service says they've been working non-stop day in and day out, removing mangled trees.
They're a hazard, you know, if they fall on a roof or on a car or on somebody walking around down here. This guy here, he said he was out here walking his dog and that big limb fell right next to him.
McCarthy and the Better Business Bureau both say to be careful who you hire for tree removal. Because in situations like this one, where residents are in desperate need of help, the Better Business Bureau says scammers come out of hiding to prey on the helpless.
Look at the truck. ask where they're based out of. They have a local office.
McCarthy also suggests not paying money up front, checking for a business license, and paying attention to the tools they have.
Usually tell by looking at the vehicles, the equipment they have, if they don't have the right equipment.
Kathy Hustis of Conway says she won't be falling for any scammers.
There's always scammers that are looking to take advantage of a situation, so I think we'll be turning those people down.
Neither will Paul Jolie. That's why he hires close to home.
Right, that's why we're going with the family and try to save as much money as possible.
The BBB also warns if someone knocks on your door asking for work, that can be the first sign that something isn't right. Tim and Allison.
All right, thanks a lot, Courtney.
The Better Business Bureau has a website where you can check to see if a business is accredited. For a link to that, just go to your website, carolinalive.com. Many homeowners may try to clean up themselves instead of waiting for the crews to arrive on scene.
Now, if you do that, plan to use a chainsaw. The South Carolina Forestry Commission recommends that you always wear protective goggles, watch for kickback from the chainsaw. Downed trees and limbs can be under a lot of stress, so watch for moving pieces when your chainsaw relieves that stress. A chainsaw operator can be pinned or injured from suddenly moving limbs. And avoid cutting over your head or from a ladder, and never operate a chainsaw without someone nearby. As we mentioned earlier, many people without power are going to Red Cross shelters or warming centers in our area.
But some of those shelters did not open until hours after people lost power, and they had no way to find out about them. We had several calls from people who wondered why the shelters didn't open earlier. WPDE News Channel 15's Mark Liverman joins us now live from South Florence High School shelter. And Mark, you called the American Red Cross and brought our viewer concerns to their attention. What did you find out?
Well, Tim and Allison, Red Cross officials tell me they were set up and ready to go, but they could only do so once emergency managers gave them the okay. Now, this shelter right here, they've been open here in Florence since 6 p.m. yesterday, and they're providing a warm place for people to go. Tens of thousands across our area are still without power as this winter storm drags on.
Freezing at home, all the power's out where we live, and it's just real cold. And they said that the shelter was open here, so we all came up here.
South Florence High School is a temporary home for 30 people without power. Here they're getting food, water, and a place to sleep. But for more than 8 hours Thursday, the shelter too lost power.
We're without power here and heat, but it stayed fairly warm in here all day long. It's better than outside.
And without it, volunteers did everything they could to keep people comfortable. Now this right here, this is the hallway people here at the shelter have been dealing with just to get to the bathroom in complete darkness. But as of about 3 o'clock, they did just get a couple generators in, and they're hoping that's going to bring the lights back on. While the generators ran, volunteers did what they could to get the power restored.
We've been calling Duke Energy all day long and have had no solution yet.
Finally, by about 4 p.m., power was restored. And residents like Terry Billings breathed a sigh of relief.
And the lights went out last night about 8 o'clock, so it's pretty cold in the house. So I'm really glad to be here, and I'm glad that they're here.
Now this shelter right here is at least open through tonight, but obviously, and here for the people through tonight, of course, but obviously people are very hopeful that power comes back on at the very latest tomorrow. Tim and Allison, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Mark.
And as we mentioned, there are several shelters open in our area. Let's take a look at those again.
In Florence County, there's a shelter open at South Florence High School. In Lower Florence County, a shelter's at Lake City High School.
And in Dillon County, Dillon High School is a shelter, and Marion High School in Marion County is being used as a shelter.
There are two in Horry County. Beach Church on George Bishop Parkway near the old Freestyle Music Park is being used as a shelter, and the Conway Recreation Center on Mill Pond Road is also being used as a shelter.
And if you do go to those shelters, the American Red Cross does ask that you bring any blankets and toiletries, that type of thing that you need.
Right now, you're looking at drone video. They seem to be just about everywhere these days. And this is a bird's eye view of all the snow up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh received 5 to 8 inches of snow with a 1/4 inch of ice on top.
And we do continue to get some amazing pictures ourselves from our viewers.
So let's send things over to meteorologist Maddie Kirker for a look at some of the pictures we're getting from you. Maddie?
And that's right, I do have a couple pictures that I'd like to share with you right now. We've been very busy behind the scenes, thanks to you, the viewer, sending in the pictures via Facebook, Twitter, and our email. Here's a picture right now. Kaylee Lawrence in Johnsonville sent this picture. Now, mind you, these trees, these oak trees, are over 100 years old, so this is kind of a sad sight, especially across folks in inland areas. There's another picture sent in by Andy Arthur in Florence. That's actually the First Presbyterian Church in Florence. That is an oak tree that obviously fell over. A very sad sight as well. Of course, that tree could have been 100 years old or more. And here's another picture sent in by Brittany Grooms in McCall. Again, this picture is of some snow, and she reported seeing snow a size of a silver dollar. And we have a couple more pictures to show you coming up at 7, and I'll be showing those to you coming up later.
All right. Thanks, Maddie.
Let's send things over now to Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski.
Your first warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski.
All right, Tim and Allison, thank you so much. Here's a look at the satellite and Doppler radar review, and there goes the big storm system finally moving out to the east after crippling much of eastern South Carolina and southern North Carolina with freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Things are improving dramatically, though, as we head through the overnight hours. The skies are going to clear. On the tail end of that system during the course of the day, we did get some snow, and that was in the forecast. And some of you saw some very strange looking snow. It kind of looked like little tiny styrofoam balls. That was actually what we call graupel. It's actually snowflakes falling through some very cold water, and that actually accumulates around the snowflake itself, and it falls to the ground as what appears to be some very dry snow, and that's exactly what it looked like, some styrofoam falling out of the sky during the course of the day. Jeff Davis from West Florence, thank you for that. All right, our temperatures right now, 35 in Laurinburg, 36 in Marion and Conway, 37 right now in Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach. Progress. We're above freezing everywhere. We will continue to stay above freezing for most of the evening, but late tonight, we're back into the 20s just about everywhere. And that's a big deal because we think things will begin to refreeze once again. Storm chaser Gerard DeBailey is on Main Street in Darlington, and right now doesn't look too bad out there. Darlington, the place to be tonight in terms of dry roads, hopefully. Gerard, what are you seeing out there tonight? It doesn't look too bad at this hour.
No, Ed, things have actually improved very dramatically from later on or earlier on this afternoon. That melt that we had really certainly helped everything clear off the roads, and the trees lost a lot of weight with all that ice finally coming down. Although that still means we can still have power outages with the oncoming winds, any of those limbs that are broken. But other than that, the roads are passable right now, especially the main ones. Any side roads have still some ice to it in any areas that have been shaded. Of course, later on tonight with the temperatures dropping, we could see a refreeze of some of that melt water on like bridges and things like that. So still take a lot of caution when passing over bridges later tonight once the temperatures fall back down again.
All right, Gerard, that's very good advice because even though you may be on what appears to be a mainly dry road, if you hit one small patch of ice, that's a whole lot of trouble for you. So you've got to be very careful anywhere across the PD and on the border belt. Obviously, the farther north and west you go from I-95, bigger troubles as the water freezes again later on tonight. Storm tracker or storm chaser Gerard DeBailey, thank you very much for that. Let's move on and show you the forecast as we head through tonight now. Clearing skies, cold and breezy, mid-20s for lows inland. We'll be in the low 30s right along the immediate coast. All right, high-resolution futurecast shows some clouds still remaining over eastern South Carolina at 7 o'clock. Those clouds are going to rapidly move away, and tomorrow we will start with nothing but sunshine. It is going to warm up very nicely as we head through tomorrow compared to the way it was today. Now, as we head through the day, there will be more clouds coming in advance of the next system, so it will become partly sunny in many areas. But at this point in time, the daylight hours will be nice and dry. That system will come through as we head through Friday night, and very late Friday night and before early Saturday morning, we could have a few showers around. I think they are moving off the coast by 7 o'clock, and hey, that's big news because we've got the Myrtle Beach Marathon starting at 6:30 on Saturday morning. If there are any light showers around between 6 and 6:30, they will be moving out very quickly, and sunshine is going to return very quickly. In fact, the daylight hours on Saturday, for the most part, look nice and sunny, and it looks equally as nice as we head through Sunday as well. All right, how about high temperatures? You got to love this. 3 days in a row now, stuck in the 30s for many areas. Tomorrow, huge progress, 53 on Friday, mid-50s as we head through the weekend. And look at this. It'll feel like spring around here as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. 70 on Tuesday and back into the mid-70s on Wednesday. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. All right, here's your forecast in the morning. Plenty of sunshine, warming quickly Upper 20s to mid 30s at 8 a.m., but quickly into the 40s by the middle and latter part of the morning. Here's your forecast as we head through the afternoon, becoming partly sunny, warmer and breezy. The highs tomorrow will be in the mid 50s. Across the PD and on the border belt, very nice here. Rapid melting will occur through the day, becoming partly sunny. High temperatures tomorrow in the upper 40s where we've got some snow cover. Elsewhere where the ground is bare will be in the low to mid 50s. Here's the Grand Strand 7-day forecast. 54 on Friday. Of course, we have a small chance of a shower on Friday night. Saturday and Sunday right now look to be nice, and it looks very nice as we head through next week as well as temperatures get close to 70. Meanwhile, across the PD and on the border belt, a chance for a few showers on Friday night. Sunshine on Saturday up to 52, 55 on Sunday, 60 on Monday, and before you know it, we are back in the low to mid 70s here as we head through Wednesday and Thursday. I was having a discussion on Facebook about just how tremendous the ice has been coming out of the trees, and it's been my experience. In the 20 years I've been here, I have not seen as many trees down, despite all the tropical storms and hurricanes that we've had go through the area. Everyone agrees that not since Hurricane Hugo have we seen this kind of tree damage.
Yeah, a lot of people have likened it to looking like what we look like after a hurricane.
And some people say even not as bad as Hurricane Hugo, especially the further north you go in Horry County, because Hugo was much farther south.
All right. Thanks, Ed.
Of course, a lot of sports games got canceled here over the past couple of days, but fortunately CCU's been able to get a little action in, but they had to go out of town to do it, and they went to snow.
And do I have a snow story for you? Wait till you see this. The Coastal Carolina men's basketball team was in Lexington, Virginia last night for a Big South Conference matchup between division leaders. Getting to Virginia, no problem. But about a foot of snow fell as CCU played their game. Today, the CCU team bus was stranded on their way back to Conway. On Twitter, the team reports that the engine was running in the bus and everyone was in good spirits. They even built a snowman to pass the time. Our Rich Krampanis also having trouble getting back after covering last night's game. He's in a hotel safely now. Now to the highlights. Coastal had to rally from 18 points down in this one. Freshman guard Elijah Wilson came to the rescue, scored a career-high 26, including this key three-pointer late in the contest. 83-78, Coastal beat VMI. The Chanticleers are now in first place in the South Division of the Big South Conference by 1/2 game over UNC Asheville. Our Rich Krampanis caught up with the coach and talked to Cliff Ellis about the home stretch, starting with the Chants' next game on Saturday.
We got to think of the 5 games that we got left. We're trying to win a championship. Gardner-Webb's next, 7 o'clock at home, and we need spirit, we need energy, we need a great crowd, and even saying that, Gardner-Webb is undefeated on the road, so we've got a tough game. But this was a huge win. Extremely proud of our team. I thought their competitiveness was really strong, especially in the second half.
Out in California, it's round 1 of the Northern Trust Open on the PGA Tour. A former Chanticleer is on top of the leaderboard. Dustin Johnson, after finishing tied for second last week on tour, carded a 5-under par 66 today. DJ is the clubhouse leader.
The greens are pretty firm, so it's tough to get it really close to the hole. But I just played solid all day. Kept it, we kept it in the fairway, and had a lot of looks at birdie. Obviously, coming off a great week last week, and the game's starting to, it's pretty solid right now. So I'm real comfortable over the ball, and I'm just playing well.
Dustin Johnson is fine. Rich Krampanis snowed in. He showed me pictures of the hotel parking lot, and there's snow about that high on the cars.
It is incredible the amount of snow we've got going up the eastern seaboard. Over a foot in parts of the North Carolina mountains, 12 to 18 inches through western Virginia, into Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, and more coming tonight.
And we got ice.
Yes,
Why?
Unfortunately, and that's been the horrible side of this storm, obviously. The snow is pretty, and some people can deal with that, especially inland, but the ice has just been horrible. It is going to get a whole lot better as we head through tomorrow. We will quickly get above freezing once the sun comes up. Massive amounts of melting will occur tomorrow with all the sunshine. Temperatures in the low 50s, mid 50s over the weekend with quite a bit of sunshine. Friday night, the only bump in the road with a small chance of a few showers. And then we're up to 60 on Monday, and man, that 70 never looks so good. 70 on Tuesday, 74 on Wednesday. Ooh. Let's just keep it there for a little while and let this storm become a fading memory.
Definitely so. Well, work continues at our transmitter to get power back there, and if we are back on the air by 7 o'clock, we will join you on WPDE at 7. If not, we'll be right back here on Carolina Live, streaming that newscast live.
And the same thing goes for 10 o'clock on CW and goes for 11 o'clock on WPDE. So keep us tuned on your TVs, on your internet, and everything else, and we hope to see you back here soon.